In this video, we're going to talk about a place, an organization called Ascii, who developed the codes that allow us to do more than just binary math on a computer. And the first code that I really want you to understand is called Ascii, or the American Standard Code for Information Interchange. So we're going to kind of talk about how this came about. It's understanding the history of this will help you understand the foundations of everything up to including modern Unicode. All right, most of what we experience as far as keyboard input and alphanumerics in a computer come from the early days of teletype, which used paper tape codes. So as we go through this, these tape codes either had 5 or 7 holes, okay? And here's what the machine looked like. And if you were in a newsroom or an AP news station in New York or any of the big networks back in the day, they'd probably have 15 of these in a room clacking away, okay? Because you could electronically send information over paper tape code. And the hole punch patterns meant something. So that was kind of the beginnings of where computer representation of codes came from, was our early communications device, which makes complete sense. All right. Back even before I was born, okay, just for the record, I'm not that old, IBM was the 900-pound gorilla in the market. All of their mainframes were the big dogs. And when we decide what is the code for the letter A, we all need to agree on that. Otherwise, I can't talk to your computer. We've talked about how the internet works. Well, all of that is based on standards, and all of those standards, we have to agree. Well, IBM decided that they were going to take the lead, and they came out with this very difficult to understand coding system called EBCDIC. And as I was coming through high school, I still remember stories of programmers telling me how much they detested EBCDIC. Now, I'm sure that it has some fans somewhere, but EBCDIC was not considered intuitive. So everyone else decided, we don't like that. So they came up with the American National Standards Institute, or ANSI, who came up with ASCII, the American Standard Code for Information Interchange. And as we go through ASCII, you're going to see how they spent some time and really made it intuitive. And they put a lot of thought into it. And ANSI exists not just for this. They develop standards that are globally used today in any number of electronics and computer science things, as well as other things. ANSI's gotten very large, and it's a very good organization. It has live people that work there. It's a place that you can go visit. So ANSI is a very good institute for helping us standardize so that people aren't working in little stovepipes doing their own parochial little things that no one can benefit from. Because remember, when we talk about abstraction, we're talking about standing on the shoulders of other people's work. And in computer science, abstraction is extremely important, even from the ground up. So ASCII, and of course, IBM lost this argument. ASCII was based on those 7 holes of punch tape. Okay? So if we say 2 to the 7th, we have 128 characters that we can use. So what they did was they said, well, let's keep this simple and we'll start with the letters. Well, we've got 26 capital letters in the alphabet. But we also want to know the difference between a capital letter and a regular letter. So we've got to use 26 more to represent the lowercase. All right, so that's 52 so far that we've burned. And we can't forget 0 through 9, the digits in the English language. Okay. And believe it or not, there are 32 punctuation marks in the English language on a keyboard. So there's 32 of them. Everyone wants to forget the space bar. But the space bar is a character. It needs a code to represent it. Okay? I mean, it's the biggest thing on there, so you might as well give it a code, right? Now, that leaves us 33 codes that are left over. All right. And of those 33 codes, 31 of them are called control codes. And if you've ever done Control-Alt-Delete, Control-C, Control-V, all of those things come from the early teletype days, and there are 31 of them that we use. Okay? Now that leaves two special codes that are kind of reserved. Okay? They're very special ones. And they are null and delete. Okay? Now null and delete come from the teletype paper days. Because if there were no holes punched, null, nothing was punched, that was considered a 0, and it typically marked the end of a data block. Okay, meaning, okay, here's the transmission, it's over, so now you're going to get some blank. Okay? And if I needed to, let's say that tape was the cryptographic code of the day for the radio that I was channelizing cryptographically for my aircraft, which I've used these types of tapes to code in the older systems radios with encryption. Okay, the control key was on a piece of tape that we'd pull through a machine. So if I needed to delete that, I mean, obviously I could burn it, cut it to little pieces, but if it was in the machine and I wanted to delete the information on a row, what I would do is I would punch every hole. And so if you hit the delete key, it just kept punching all 7 holes and you had no idea what was there, right? So the basically code for erase all data was 127, punch them all. Okay? And by the way, a lot of people ask me, why is that not 128? Because 0 gets a vote, right? So 0 through 127 is 128 combinations. Okay? Now let's talk about how Ascii developed where they were going to put the digits. Okay? Now remember, in a byte we have 8 bits. But Ascii, baseline Ascii, uses 7. So 011, 0001 was the number 1. 011, 0010 is the number 2. Because that's 2 to the 1, 2 to the 0. And you should start to see a pattern. 2 and 1 is 3. So what this means is, if the computer sees 011, it knows a digit's coming, at least up through 9. Okay? So 011 was the precursor for one of the digits. Now, if we look at uppercase letters, okay, they started with 100 was the letter A. 100, 0010 was a B. So if the computer saw 100, it knew that it was getting a letter. Okay, now it works most of the way through the alphabet. But the bottom line is 100 and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way down, you get the pattern, right? Okay, and if it was a 1, 1, 0, you were getting a lowercase, and the pattern continues. Okay? So if I wanted to change case, literally all I was doing was flipping a bit. I go from 100 to 110. Now, ask me how long it takes a computer to flip a bit. It's considered pretty much real time. It's about as fast thing anything could do. So, yeah, you just flip the 32-bit and you get upper to lowercase. So the methods in an upper level language that are called string manipulation, 2 upper or 2 lower, where it takes a string of letters, makes it all uppercase or make it lowercase. That's a very fast routine. It's not very hard. Okay? So, let's look at where we've come from baseline Ascii. Well, Ascii basically gave us 7 positions, and the 8-bit was always a 0. Well, it didn't take very long for somebody to say, hey, what about that extra bit? Why don't we use it and let's get some more characters out of this, right? Because, I mean, there's other languages out there too. So they got a little bit more with extended ASCII by using that. That basically gave them another 128 characters. So extended ASCII uses 256 characters. The thing I want you to remember in this is ASCII doesn't change as part of extended ASCII. Okay? It's the ASCII value is the same for the letter A in both of these. Okay? That still wasn't enough because you've got Cyrillic characters, you've got Chinese characters, you've got all these different languages out there. So we've come up with a new standard called Unicode, which is appropriately named the Universal Coded Character Set, which now has all kinds of bytes available. In fact, current Unicode has 143,859 available characters. And guess what? The code for a lowercase a is the same here, here, and here, because otherwise you'd have to throw these away, and that doesn't make sense. So Unicode contains all of this, which contains all of this, and all of the rest, okay? And that's how it's so seamless in its adoption as far as that goes. So that's kind of an overview of what I want you to know for how this information is coded and stored. So when I hit the space bar, the computer gets the correct code, and it's the same no matter what computer I'm on. Letter T, capital F, little s, it's all got a code that is consistent in the system, okay? In the next video, we're going to begin to talk about some very, very basic binary math, because I feel that it is very important as programmers that you can understand binary math. We don't go above a byte, but we're going to do addition and subtraction, which is quirky because computers don't really subtract. And we'll talk about that and kind of the electronic trickery we do to get a computer to perform subtraction in some of the next couple videos. So again, we're going to start binary math next, but for now, that's it for ASCII. I'll see you on the other side.